All right, let's talk about Ishowspeed. You probably know him as the walking, talking, screaming embodiment of pure internet chaos. But what you might not know is the story of how this kid from Ohio went from zero to building a global empire. And we're going to break down exactly how he pulled it off. But before all the money, before the fame, there was this moment. This is a quote from Speed at what was probably his lowest point, when his own mom kicked him out of the house. Why? Because he wanted to be a streamer. Okay, now fast forward to today, his estimated net worth, a staggering $55 million. I mean, that jump from getting kicked out of your house to commanding that kind of fortune, that's the whole story right there.
So, the big question is, how does that even happen? How do you make a leap like that? Well, that's exactly what we're going to get into today. We're going to map out his entire journey, step by step.
All right, so let's rewind. We got to start at the very beginning, because before the fame, before the money, and all the chaos, Ishowspeed. Well, he was on a completely different track.
So, Ishowspeed, his real name is Darren Watkins Jr., was born in Ohio back in 2005. His parents divorced when he was young, and for him, his big escape was football. And listen, he was serious about it. He's actually said that if this whole YouTube thing never panned out, he would have tried to go to the NFL. That was the plan.
And, his success was absolutely not an overnight thing. Not even close. He started his channel way back in 2016 while he was still in grade school. He was trying to stream popular games like Fortnite on YouTube and Twitch, and he was getting basically no viewers. It got so bad that by 2019, he'd just given up. He decided to focus on school and football instead. But then, everything changed. The whole world changed. And that gave him a second chance. This is when Speed was about to crack the YouTube code. Right in the middle of the pandemic. Yeah, the big turning point was 2020. The pandemic hits, right? Everyone's stuck at home. And a friend of his who was also a streamer basically just told him, dude, you gotta give it another shot. And that one little piece of advice, it ended up being worth millions and millions of dollars. Okay, so to really get what happens next, you gotta understand how the YouTube algorithm works. It's kind of like a beast you have to feed. The first thing it cares about is watch time. It's super simple, really. The more total hours people spend watching your stuff, the more YouTube's algorithm goes, hey, this is good content, and starts showing it to a bunch of new people. And right alongside that, working hand in hand, is average view duration. This one just measures what percentage of your video the average person actually watches. So think about it. If people click away after just a few seconds, that's a huge red flag for YouTube. But if you can keep them absolutely glued to the screen, oh yeah, the algorithm definitely takes notice. So this is basically Speed's unspoken formula in action. It's a 4-step process. Step 1, create these super high-energy, totally unpredictable streams. Step 2, because nobody has any idea what's going to happen next, viewers watch for way longer. That unpredictability jacks up his watch time. Step 3, the algorithm sees this crazy high engagement. And finally, step 4, it starts pushing his streams to a massive new audience. It's a perfect feedback loop. So he figured out the formula. And by 2021, his channel went from just a slow burn to a full-on raging inferno. I mean, it just exploded. But with that kind of explosive growth came a whole new set of challenges, not just online, but at home too. And here is how he really turbocharged that growth. See, the old method was just make long videos. But Speed's method, he would create these long streams for hours and hours, and then he just let his fans do all the work. They created these things called clip farms, where they'd take the wildest, funniest, most insane moments and chop them up into short clips for TikTok and Instagram. And this became a free, viral marketing machine that was just funneling millions of new viewers right back to his main channel. Genius, right? And, I mean, the results, they just speak for themselves. Check out this growth in June of 2021. It was absolutely insane. On June 22nd, he hits 400,000 subscribers. Just 2 days later, 500,000. Then on the 29th, he gains 200,000 subs in just 12 hours to hit 1 million. And by the next day, 1.5 million. We're talking over 1 million subscribers in just about a week. It was a complete rocket ship. But here's the thing. While his online world was just exploding, his life at home was kinda imploding. His mom, she just didn't get it, you know? She just saw him in his bedroom screaming and cursing, all this chaos, and she just couldn't understand what he was doing. And as he says right here, she was literally threatening to cut off his internet.
Okay, so by this point, Speed had pretty much conquered the US streaming market, but he wanted more. To build a true global empire, he needed a brand new strategy, and the one he came up with, it was so simple, but absolutely brilliant. So what was the key to unlocking a massive worldwide audience? It all came down to one name, Cristiano Ronaldo. By just latching onto the world's most famous athlete, Speed tapped into a universal language that everyone could understand.
Let's just break down for a second why this was such a genius move. First off, football or soccer, whatever you call it, is the world's biggest sport, period. And Ronaldo? He's the most followed person on Instagram. He's the biggest star. So when Speed starts obsessing over him, screaming his famous Sue chant, billions of people around the globe instantly knew what he was talking about. But here's the most crucial part. His humor is physical. It's the rage, the laughter, the falling out of his chair. You don't need to speak a word of English to get it. And that's how he connected with a truly global fan base.
Okay, so we've covered how he rose to fame. Now, let's do the fun part. Let's follow the money. How does all this manic energy and global attention actually translate into a $55 million empire? Where does the cash come from?
Well, here's a look at the different pieces of his business. And what's wild is that, while his YouTube ad revenue is great, about $2.3 million a year, that's not where the real money is, not by a long shot. Look at stream donations. We're talking anywhere from $7.5 to over $13 million a year. And get this, a single merchandise drop can bring in over $16 million. He's not just a streamer, people. He is running a full-blown diversified media company. Just to put that into perspective for you, a single viral video, one video, it can earn him an estimated $324,000. And that's after taxes. The scale of the money we're talking about here is just, it's on a whole other level. So when you add all of his income streams and all his assets together, that's how you get to that estimated $55 million pre-tax net worth. And yeah, the government's going to take its cut, a pretty hefty one, almost $20 million. But even after that, he's still left with an estimated $34.65 million. That is an incredible fortune built completely from the ground up. So what's the big takeaway from his entire journey? You know, I think it's probably best summed up in his own completely unfiltered words. When people tell him, "Ain't no way, boy," his response is always simple. It is a way, bro. Stop being a bitch. It is a way. And that really leaves us with one final big question. We live in this era of perfectly polished, media-trained celebrities, right? So is this raw, unfiltered, chaotic energy, is this the new blueprint for fame? It's definitely something to think about.